Happy Monday, everyone, and happy birthday, Tim. I hope you have a fantastic day today, and I hope you all enjoy this work set. We are going to approach a nice on the minute today for about 16 minutes. So it's going to be a little longer, but it's going to be a fun one. So before we get to that, let's talk about our warm-up. Our warm-up is going to spend some time working on those hips a bit. Sumo good morning to sumo squat for 3 to 5 reps. Side scale raise for 3 a side. Side lunge of 6 to 10 alternating reps. And a single leg RDL for 3 to 5 a side. We're going to hit that anywhere from 1 to 2 rounds, making sure everything feels pretty good. Then we're going to move into some dumbbell work. We've got some interesting stuff coming up today. So we have a dumbbell sumo deadlift for 3, into a dumbbell sumo deadlift high pull for 3. So that's going to allow us to work on the skills we need in the work set. Into a dumbbell goblet squat to start warming up our squat with a 3 to 5 rep scheme there. And then a dumbbell ground overhead. And it's not a normal dumbbell ground overhead. And I'll show you the difference there in what we're doing today. And I hope you guys have fun with this because it's a little funky. Now from there we're going to move into a plank to side plank for 20 seconds. We're just going to work on transitioning our body weight over from one side to the next just to get our shoulders ready. We're going to work on that piece for about 2 to 3 rounds, maybe a few other. If you'd like to kind of slowly get these skills going and practice anything else you need to put into that work set. Now our work set today is going to be an on the minute for 4 rounds. You are going to do minute number 1, 45 seconds of dumbbell sumo deadlift high pulls. And you are going to do 5 on one side, 5 on the other side. Now this can be on the lighter side today. I just want you guys to flow back and forth with that dumbbell sumo deadlift high pull. If you have a barbell at home, you could also do this with an empty barbell as well. The motion is the same except you'll hold the barbell roughly about a thumb's distance away from each other into that nice high pull position, that little bow tie position. So we can play with that as well if you have access to a barbell. Now from there, you have 15 seconds to transition. You'll have minute number 2 where you're going to do a dumbbell squat, where you can do a dumbbell goblet squat or front rack position for 10 to 15 reps. Now this can be a little heavier, it can be a different load that you've used in your dumbbell sumo deadlift high pull. It could be the same, whatever you'd like to tackle there for that movement, be my guest. Get that nice challenging squat, pick the reps that you're going to play with to get the most bang for your buck in that piece. From there, we're going to move into minute number 3. We're going to do a dumbbell ground overhead. We're going to take 1 dumbbell in this movement and you're going to bust it from the floor all the way to an overhead position. I'll walk you through that sequence. We're going to do 10 to 15, and you'll have lots of choices here because you have your dumbbell for the sumo deadlift, you have your front squat or your goblet squat dumbbells. You can play around with whatever you want there. Last but not least, we're going to walk into our Inchworm extended plank for 3 to 5 reps. So you're going to walk all the way out into that nice extended plank position, walk yourself back up, and you're going to do that for 3 to 5 reps, and then rest for the remaining time frame you have. Now this is a nice little work set that's going to cover the top to bottom of the body, so I hope you guys enjoy this one and have some fun with it. Let's get you warmed up, let's get you ready to work some skills. Have a great Monday. Alright, let's get those feet underneath those hips. We're going to take the arms big and tall up overhead. We're going to give ourselves a big old stretch to one side. We're going to give ourselves a big stretch to the other side. Come back through. We're going to forward fold all the way down, touching those toes. We'll walk up the shins. We'll come all the way down, framing a foot. We'll step it back into our lizard, nice and square. We're going to slowly lower the back knee. We're going to press the hip, come back to center, press the hip, back to center, and press the hip, back to center. We're going to straighten out the back leg, slowly straightening out the front leg. Planting the foot, and then slowly straighten the front, plant the foot, and then slowly straighten the front, and plant the foot. We'll step back into our down dog, reaching through those hips, nice set shoulders. Then we'll come back into our plank as we step the other foot up, nice and square in those hips, lowering the knee, trying to keep this front big toe down as we press the hip, come back to center, press the hip to center, and then press the hip and back to center. We're going to straighten out the back leg, straighten the front, plant the foot, straighten the front, plant the foot, and straighten the front, plant the foot. We'll step her back into that nice down dog, reaching through those steps. We'll come back into that plank, pressing through the floor, toeing those feet all the way up. We're going to roll ourselves all Little reach to one side, to the other side. We'll lower the hands down. And get yourself fired up. Now, if you have any extra movement you'd like to take down, please take the time now to do so. I'm going to get you fired up for that lower half of the body. So if you have any band work, maybe some specific lower body exercises to do for yourself, please pause, rock it, come back and join me for a little bit of lower body love. Okay, we're going to kickstart off our day with a sumo good morning to sumo squat. So I'm going to get myself set up in my sumo squat stance. So it's a little wider than my normal squat stance, all right? I'm going to stand up nice and tall, opening up the hips, and use my hand reference on my ribs and my chest to make sure that I'm not breaking through the midsection and keeping them the same distance apart the whole time. I'm going to pull my hips back, which is going to pull my chest towards the floor. I'm going to stand all the way back up, remove my hands from my chest, and then slowly pull my hips towards my heels, sending those knees out, and then keeping that body nice and balanced through that midfoot as I take the entire process down. Now with this motion, we are going to have to push the knees out a little on that good morning, and then we're going to have to push those knees out quite a bit more on that sumo squat than we normally would in a normal air squat, because it's going to make sure that those knees stay out and not collapse in, so they still track the toes. From that sumo good morning to sumo squat, we're going to stand nice and tall in a narrow stance. We're going to point our toe so the top of my foot points straight ahead. I'm nice and square to the side. I'm going to hold my hands wherever I need them to be, and I'm going to lift that leg up to the side and lower with control. Now the important thing is I'm using that glute and that hip to lift the leg, and I'm not using momentum, and I'm also not turning my hip so my toe points to the side. It points down towards the floor, and it'll always, the top of the foot will always point towards the camera or the screen. Now with this challenging movement, don't worry about how high that leg gets. Focus on keeping the body tall, so shoulder, hip, and heel all in a straight line, and that other leg stays straight and active. Now from our side scale, we're going to go right into a wide stance again. So our toes are going to be slightly turned out, and we're going to do a side lunge. And we're going to think about squat mechanics. So I'm going to draw my hip towards my heel, making sure my knee is tracking my toe. My torso is nice and upright, and I'm opening my hips at the top. So I'm only taking it as far as I can maintain my upright body position. Now at the bottom of this side lunge, if you looked at me from the side without watching how I went down, it should look very similar to a squat. So my squat position or my bottom position of that side lunge should look very similar to that bottom position, with one side anyway, as my squat. All right, so keep that in mind. We want to keep that nice upright torso as best we can, not letting that body tip too far forward like a good morning. Last but not least, once we're done that side lunge for 6 to 10, we're going to bring our feet right underneath our hips again. Bring one toe to our kickstand. Hip is square to the front. Hands are going to come to the front. I'm going to draw the hip back into that nice RDL. So I'm taking my hands just below my knee or to my knee and standing tall through that balancing leg. Keeping that nice square hip. The majority of my weight is through this front leg. This kickstand is here, so I can really isolate that hamstring on that front leg so I get the most bang for my buck and charge that hamstring up for what's to come. Now if you'd like to load that, you can hold a dumbbell to the front, hold the kickstand leg, hold it to the balancing leg, it's up to you. But remember, it's a warm-up, so don't overkill that exercise. We're really just finding it to activate and turn on those hamstrings. As a quick recap, we have a sumo good morning to sumo squat, 3 to 5 reps. Side scale raise for 3 a side. Side lunge for 6 to 10 alternating reps. And a single leg RDL for 3 to 5 reps per side. You're going to hit that 1 to 2 rounds, and we're going to come back at you with some dumbbell work. So get yourself prepped, get those legs ready, because they're going to be put to some good hard work. All right, we're going to kickstart off our dumbbell skill work with some dumbbell sumo deadlifts. Again, really just to work on position for what's going to turn into a very dynamic movement, or a couple very dynamic movements in our work set. So in terms of our work set today, what we're looking at is a nice smooth stance over top of that dumbbell. I'm holding my tall position. I'm going to take my hips back in that good hinge position to my knee. I'm going to lower straight down to the dumbbell. So my chest is going to be a little higher, my hips will be a little bit lower, and that's okay. And I can stand up, pushing through those legs, and just bringing the dumbbell up to my hip. And I'm going to take it back and down, wherever I feel comfortable, and push through those legs. Again, taking it back down, and standing tall. So we're really taking advantage of that hinge position, working on taking the dumbbell to wherever I can maintain tension on the hamstring and that good back position. Once I'm done 3 per side, or 3, I can move into my Sumo Deadlift high pull. So I'm going to work that same start position, except I'm going to build some speed, and I'm going to pull that dumbbell up to that sternum position or towards the armpit. So I'm going to take it down to where I feel comfortable. I'm going to push through the legs, guiding the dumbbell to my armpit, and then come back down in that good back position. Push through the legs, let it come back down, and again, guide it towards that hip again. So I'm not trying to hold the dumbbell up here, I'm just guiding it and then guiding it back to the hip. So I'm not letting it control me, but I am guiding it with a little bit of control down towards the hip so I can kind of move into the next rep. This movement in the workout is not meant to be heavy, it's meant to be something you can flow with nice and smoothly, so you should be able to control that dumbbell pretty well. From there, what we're going to do is we're going to pull that dumbbell up under the chin. I'm going to get into my regular squat stance, so my feet are going to be about hip to shoulder width apart. I'm standing tall, pushing into those dumbbells. I'm going to draw my hips towards my heel. My knees are going to track those toes just like they did in my sumo squat. But I don't have to push that knee out as hard as I did before because my feet aren't as wide. So I'm trying to stay as upright as I can. My hips go towards the heel, my weight through my midfoot, and I stand through that nice solid press. So now with that, we're really starting to groove that position, figure out some working weight, because we might very well use that goblet squat in our workout if you'd like, or you can use a front squat. But this will be a nice chance to work on posture and work on figuring out where you want to live today in that work set. Our last dumbbell movement today is going to be our ground to overhead. And now the ground overhead's a little bit different. We're going to take both hands on the dumbbell heads and we're going to use that to get it up overhead into a nice ground overhead position. So what it's going to look like, I'm going to come down, take hold of the dumbbell, I'm going to push through the legs, up overhead, and then come back down. Up overhead, and come back down. Up overhead, and then come back down. So it's almost like a snatch, similar, but I'm not doing that nice finish into the power position. I'm just really pulling that dumbbell up into that nice overhead position with a good leg drive. From the side, note the back position. So my back position's in that good deadlift position. I push through the legs, I keep the dumbbell close, I keep it close on the way down. So what we're looking for is a little bit of lightness through the midsection, and then some support in the overhead with those arms. This can get pretty heavy if you like, and if you're comfortable with it. It can also stay light. You can cycle those reps pretty quickly and get that heart rate up. So we're looking for 10 to 15 reps in the workout, in the warm-up. We're looking for 3 to 5 just to get a feel for it and go, oh, okay, that's gonna get the heart rate going. But the key thing is we're looking for some key positions, and that back position, very, very important to focus in on. So really try and pay attention to that upper back in that hinge pattern. Now last but not least in our warm-up, we're gonna take some time without a dumbbell and warm up our shoulders a bit more and some good control. So I'm gonna get myself set up with my feet about hip width apart, pushing the floor away, pulling the ribs in. I'm gonna hold for a couple seconds, and then I'm gonna shift over into a side plank. Hold for a beat or two, come back through, and then pull over to the other side, letting those feet kind of windshield washer back and forth. So I'm not stacking my feet, I'm using them to control my balance, and I'm just laying them as I take it back and forth. So from the back, I'm going to turn away from you guys, you'll see what my feet are doing. It's very, very straightforward as we maintain contact. We rotate through, rotate to the side, and come back through. So very, very subtle motion with the feet. It'll help keep us balanced, but it'll also allow us to really work on that kind of shifting back and forth. Now if that's a little bit too much for the single arm, you can also flow from plank to supported side plank, coming through that position. Knee comes down, turn the toe, back up, and just work that back and forth to make sure that we're comfortable going back and forth in that flow. So whatever you need to take down, work on that for about 20 seconds of just steady state flow, holding for a couple seconds to show control, but you don't have to hold for very long. As a quick recap, we have a dumbbell sumo deadlift high pull, can't talk anymore. Dumbbell sumo deadlift, there it is, for 3. We have a dumbbell sumo deadlift high pull for 3. You can either do all your deadlifts first and then your high pulls, or you can flow 3 deads into 3 high pulls to link those 2 movements. That's up to you. So however you want to take that down. Then you're going to flip that dumbbell into that goblet position, 3 to 5 reps. Then you can do a dumbbell ground overhead for 3 to 5 reps, maintaining a good back position the whole time. And then finishing strong with a plank to side plank, alternating back and forth for those 20 seconds. You're going to hit that for a couple rounds, making sure you're comfortable, building some working weight, maybe changing different loads for different things, making sure you're getting there and having kind of an idea of what you want to do in this work set. Pause it, rock it, come back to me. We're going to talk about a couple movements in our workout and turn you loose. All right, we've made it to the work set. We have an on the minute for 4 rounds. Woo! That means we got 16 minutes of work coming your way. Minute number 1, you're going to do dumbbell sumo deadlift high pull. We covered that pretty heavily in the previous warm-up. The only thing you need to know is that you're going to alternate every 5 reps, and you're going to keep moving back and forth for 45 seconds. So that gives you 15 seconds of rest and transition to get ready for your dumbbell squat. Minute number 2, you have a choice. You're either going to rock a goblet squat, which we covered earlier, or you're going to take down a front squat. So you can use 2 dumbbells, you can use a single. Regardless of double or single, the squat mechanics are the same. You're going to push into the dumbbell, kind of lifting and supporting the dumbbell with the side body. Your obliques will be turned on, your lats will be turned on. We're going to push into that dumbbell as it rests on the shoulder. Our hips are going to draw back towards the heel. We're going to keep pushing into that dumbbell to make sure it stays supported the entire time. In a perfect front squat, those elbows in that rack position don't move at all. They stay stable, they stay strong, and nice and active, so we can support the load as best we can. Now this one you can go on the little heavier side. If you want to have 2 different dumbbells, you can. You can go lighter and faster, it's up to you. You can definitely play with some different loading here compared to the sumo deadlift high pull. Minute number 3 is that ground overhead, 10 to 15 reps. Again, you can go on the heavier side. You're going to use 1 dumbbell, working through that motion we practiced in our previous warm-up. Big focus here again, back position, you guys. That's super, super important. We want to make sure we're getting that good deadlift back and that good hinge pattern. Now our last movement is an inchworm extended plank. And we've been playing around some transitioning from side to side in our side planks in our opening warm-up. But this movement is going to be up to you in terms of how far you go. It's going to start in a standing position. You'll hinge. You're going to walk your hands out as far out as you feel comfortable into that nice extended hollow position. Pulling everything in and then walking those hands back in. Now you can take it to your plank, so you can work an inchworm just out to your plank position. If you're comfortable with a couple other steps, you can work on that. Or like I said, you can take it as far out as you feel comfortable. Just make sure you can get back in and rise back up. Now if getting up and down off the floor into that inchworm position is really, really challenging and you prefer not to do that, what you can do is a reverse inchworm. So you can put your hands on an apparatus, be it a chair, countertop, ottoman, whatever you have at home, and then you can tiptoe your feet out into your plank and work that in reverse. So you still get that aspect and that shoulder engagement and that upper body kind of stabilization, but you're walking your feet out slowly into that plank and then walking them back in. So there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you have some wrist issues, if putting all that load on your hands is a little bit too much with the full force of your body weight. You can do that elevated position, and it'll take a lot of pressure off your wrists, and you can just walk those feet out, walk those feet in. If you're doing that one, you can stick to 3 to 5 reps, or you can work on that for about 30 to 45 seconds. If you want a few more repetitions, that's totally fine by me. From there, we'll repeat and we'll take it down. So again, as a quick recap, 4 rounds. Minute number 1, you have 45 seconds of dumbbell sumo deadlift high pull, alternating every 5. Minute number 2, dumbbell squat for 10 to 15 reps, goblet or front rack. Then we have minute number 3, dumbbell ground to overhead, 10 to 15 reps. That's 2 hands on the dumbbell, taking it all the way overhead. And then we have minute number 4, inchworm extended plank for 3 to 5 reps. This is going to be a fun little work set. Lots of leg, a lot of hips, so it's going to get a little pooped, get a little tired, but have some fun with it, pick some loads accordingly, and just rock this as a good cardio experience. Happy birthday, Tim. I hope you experience a fantastic day today, and I hope everything is going as it should for you today, because it's your birthday. It's a special day. For everyone else out there, have a fantastic day as well. Work for quality. We'll see you tomorrow for a little bit of strength work and another birthday. We got a lot of birthdays this week, so stay tuned. Bye, you guys.